This is the Transforming Anxiety podcast with Kelly Hanlon McCormick, and today is episode number 218, Counterintuitive Things. Welcome to Transforming Anxiety. I'm your host, Kelly McCormick. I'm a mom to 2 boys, a wife, friend, daughter, and sister, and I'm a certified life coach, yoga teacher, and soon-to-be mindfulness meditation teacher. I'm no stranger to anxiety, and I'm here to teach you how to manage your mind and your emotions so that you too can transform anxiety into calm, peace, and whatever you want for your life. I'm so glad you're here. Well, hey there, and welcome in today. I hope you're doing well if you're driving or walking or getting ready for the day or chopping vegetables. Whatever it is you do while you're listening to podcasts. That's what I do while I'm listening to podcasts. There you go. We're just going to hop into it today because I'm trying to get everything and everybody out the door this evening. We're heading up to the middle school for a informational meeting about a trip that my older son is going to be taking. And then we're going to sit in on the band concert that's happening at the middle school because my younger son is going to be going to middle school next year and just signed up for band. So we've got one of those afternoons where we're trying to get dinner and everybody out the door so that we can do all the things. So let's talk about, I wanted to explore the idea of counterintuitive things with you today. More particularly, how a few specific counterintuitive things can really work for you and serve you. Our minds like to use logic. They like to use reason and past evidence and just figure things out with using sense, right? And I have to tell you, some things just don't make sense, right? At least it's not logical on the surface of it. And some things, in fact, are far better and are far easier. They feel better when we employ a counterintuitive approach to them. It's wild. So we're going to go through a few specifics here together today. There's more out there. These are just a few that I thought of that I thought would be widely applicable and widely helpful so that you can get a better idea of what I mean when I say counterintuitive things. And I really invite you to try a few of these things. Try this out for yourself. My hunch is that they might make sense here while we're talking about it in this conversation, and that while we're outside of the moment, while we've hit pause on real life, right, it will make sense to you. And that when you actually go to integrate them in the moment when you could apply them, your mind is going to be like, yeah, no, that'll never work. So it's also really helpful to consider these things outside of the heat of the moment, outside of that real-time application, when you can think about this with some perspective, because when you're in it, it's really tricky to see the upside of the counterintuitive things, let alone actually apply the counterintuitive things and live into them. Okay, so let's talk about some specific examples so you can see what I mean here. First one is saying, I'm not okay, because this creates freedom. So hear me out on this one. How very many times have you been struggling? Have you been feeling overwhelmed or stressed or confused by what the hell you're up to in life, and you hardly have that thought or that feeling without also telling yourself, but I'm okay. Without also telling the people around you, don't worry, I've got it, I'm okay. And I just want to offer you this little counterintuitive nugget. When you allow yourself to feel distinctly not okay, and you name it, you say it to yourself, and even maybe you say it to the people around you, I am not okay, creates freedom for yourself because you're telling the truth. How are you? I am not okay. And listen, you can feel not okay And know that for sure you're going to be okay, that more okay days are coming, that you also have the capacity to feel amazing and curious and energized and deeply content. Those can be true simultaneously. I'm not doing okay right now, and I will be okay. Yep. I am not okay. When you're willing to say this, you stop resisting what's real and what's true for you in the moment. You stop denying your own reality. One of the most intense breeding grounds for anxiety is resistance and denying what's real and true for you. Meaning, when you keep telling yourself, I'm okay, when you're clearly not okay, you're denying it, and you're piling on the added pressure of resistance and avoidance by trying to pretend your way into okayness. Maybe just be not okay. Like, let yourself feel that for a moment, for an hour, for a day, maybe for a whole season of your life, whatever it takes. It's not your job to be okay. It is your job to take care of yourself, but it's not your job to lie and deny and pretend like you're fine when you're struggling. And folks, look around. Things are hard. Life is hard. Being an adult and having relationships and parenting and working and keeping things going day after day after day, it's hard. You don't always have to be okay on top of all that. When you allow yourself to acknowledge and name it, when you can say, I'm not okay. When you're not okay, you can flow with it and through it. And ironically, you find your way back to okay far faster than when you pretend and force and push and try to stay with okay 100% of the time. Like, listen, we're all okay, and then we're not. And then we are. And then we're not. So here's something interesting. This is a random aside. I read something recently about how, you know how the Finnish and the Danes are always at the very top of the charts happiness-wise? Like, those countries are always listed as the happiest countries. They're always rated the happiest people on earth, right? Well, I read something about how they don't have the idea that they're supposed to be happy the way that we do, particularly in America. It's like they know and even expect at least some amount of I'm not okay to flow in and out of their days. And it's fascinating. It's so ironic and counterintuitive, right? How do you get to be the happiest nation on earth? By counterintuitively knowing that you're not going to be happy all the time and allowing that to happen. By saying sometimes, I'm not okay. It's fascinating, right? Okay, another counterintuitive thing. Hard left, right? This is unrelated to that. Well, although, I don't know, maybe it's directly related to that. I don't know. Meditating creates time. I know. I don't get it either. Right? There's some time-space continuum that gets shaken up snow globe style when you take 10 or 20 minutes to meditate. Because no one I know has 10 or 20 minutes to meditate. And if they do, that's not what they want to do with their time. I get it. I'm a meditation teacher, and that's true for me. So I totally understand. And yet, I have found every single time investing a few minutes a day in meditation somehow, some way, means that there's more time and more space in your day. Does this make logical sense? No. Does it work this way 100% of the time? Yes. And here's my hunch. I think meditation feels like a split in the time-space continuum because it's a unique way to invest in your mental and emotional health. It's a very particular form of stillness and quieting that is needed more than ever in our lives. It's just not something that we naturally get or will accidentally come across. What we accidentally get and naturally come across is going and doing and rushing around. Like our society is built on busyness. So meditation is pretty much the opposite of how most of us are living day to day. And I know it's a hard sell. Again, I'm a meditation teacher, and it can be hard to sell myself on the idea that meditating would be a good idea. It's so wildly counterintuitive that taking time to meditate is going to create time. And yet, I'm telling you, this stuff works. All right, you ready for a really crazy one? Bear with me. The next one, the next counterintuitive thing, asking for help helps. I know, but really think about this one for a second. When you ask for help, you get help. And when you get support, when you feel seen and heard, when someone drives your kids somewhere or gives you helpful feedback on a project or makes you dinner or simply hears that no, you can't, or maybe just don't want to go to the dinner tonight because you'd rather chill on the couch, it helps. But we got this bizarre memo from the universe that we need to do it all on our own, that we have to power through, that we should keep on keeping on, and that if we ask for help, it's an imposition at best and a total weakness on our part, that we shouldn't have to ask for help. But I guess it's okay for someone somewhere to ask for help, because we've also gotten the message that if someone asks us for help, then we are, by all means, expected to give it. Now, the random sidebar here, have you noticed that when you can help someone, and by that I mean it doesn't completely wipe you out to show up and assist somebody, like when you can genuinely help somebody because you have the time and the capacity to do that, it feels amazing, doesn't it? It's way better to be the helper than the helped, even. It feels so damn good to be like, hey, you know what? I'm just going to come over and grab your kid for the day. Or, hey, I'm going to drop dinner off. Is Tuesday night or Wednesday night better for you? Or, hey, I'm going to send my teenager over to mow your lawn. Or, listen, I can totally cover this meeting for you. You take off early. When you can, and that part is key, that part has to be there. Helping feels so good. We're all interconnected, right? All of us human beings. We're all in this together, whether we acknowledge that or not. We're all impacting and influencing and helping and inconveniencing and affecting each other all day, every day anyway. So we might as well do that intentionally instead of pretending that we're all silos moving about the earth alone and under only our own power, because it's just not true. And here's something interesting. You ready for a little math equation? A helping math equation? If you're willing to ask for help, then maybe, perhaps, when someone asks you for help, you'll be better equipped and more able to help them because you've been helped, because you didn't have to go it alone. You with me? Asking for help helps. And giving help, it feels amazing when it's in your capacity to give. Now, I say this is counterintuitive because I think the message that we shouldn't need help is so drilled into us these days. But I just want to tell you, we do. We all do. Let's be honest, we all need help. And I mean personally, professionally, and I mean that in all the ways, right? We do. So ask for it. Asking for help helps. All right, next counterintuitive thing for you. And we've talked about this before around here, but it bears repeating. Telling the truth is a balm for anxiety. Being more honest about who you are, about what you want, and what's on your mind and on your heart. These are direct antidotes for anxiety. It's when we're not looking at that, when we're not saying that stuff, when we're not open to seeing it in ourselves and sharing it with the people in our lives, that we suffer. I think we usually assume that the opposite of anxiety is like calm or peace, right? That being chill and cool is how we'll act when we're not feeling anxious. But I don't think so. I think the opposite of anxiety is honesty. I think it's telling the truth of who you are. Now, again, I don't think this necessarily makes logical sense. They don't seem like opposite sides of the same coin, right? There are way more obvious opposites than this. But try it on. Test it out for yourself. If there's an area of your life where you feel super anxious and super spun up all the time, this could very well be the answer. This could very well be the way out. Tell the truth, at least to yourself. At least be honest with you. And then take it out into the wild a bit. Maybe, and you could do it this way first, maybe just at least in the safety of your own mind. Experiment there. See how different situations or relationships or conversations would go. How you'd feel if you were just a little more honest about who you are, what you want, what you think and feel. Just interesting. And I think more than a little counterintuitive, right? All right. Lastly, for today, we could probably do episodes on this every so often because I think there's a lot of counterintuitive things out there that are helpful. But lastly, for today, feeling your feelings helps them move through you and dissipate, while resisting your feelings prolongs them. Like, think about this. I know, actually, that it seems like if you open yourself up to something, anxiety, sadness, anger, it seems like you're going to get stuck there. And it seems like you're going to feel that way for a really long time. That's what makes sense to our brains, for whatever reason anyway. That it's better to ward off the emotions entirely instead of feeling them and allowing them to flow through us. But counterintuitively, when we open up the channels and let the energy of the emotions flow through us, they just kind of go away. The fuel of thought is almost always what keeps an emotion in place. Emotions themselves will not continue to grow and buzz and vibrate through your body. They have to be fueled by thought and rumination in order to stay in place. So, the more you can lean yourself toward the feeling, this is the counterintuitive piece, right? The more you can lean towards the feeling, the quicker they flow and dissipate and move out and away. I know it doesn't make any sense to lean yourself towards anxiety or towards sadness or self-doubt, but if you do, things move. Here's a quote for you. This is from Carl Sagan. He said, "The truth may be puzzling. It may take some time and some work to grapple with. It may be counterintuitive. It may contradict deeply held prejudices. It may not be consonant with what we desperately want to be true, but our preferences do not determine what's true." Right? Our preferences do not determine what is true. Counterintuitive things. They don't make logical sense in our minds. These are just some examples, right? But this is what can happen when we're willing to take charge and direct our minds on purpose, when we can be intentional about how we're living our lives. This kind of boils down to that good old don't believe everything you think idea that we talk about around here so much, because counterintuitive things can be the most useful things sometimes, right? All right, that's what I've got for you today. So I will see you at the same time, same place next week for more transforming anxiety. And until then, please, we take a quick minute to rate and review the podcast if you haven't already, particularly if you're listening on Apple or Spotify. It helps our other anxious friends find the show and get some support too. So thank you for that. And listen, I will see you again soon, same time, same place next week. And until then, please take care. Do you have someone to help you with your stress, anxiety, worry, and overwhelm? If not, I would love to be your coach. The Fierce Calm Project is my virtual coaching program where we get to go in on topics like this one, and I can help you apply these lessons to your life so that you're creating your own transformation. We do live coaching calls, guided meditations, on-demand yoga classes. We hold book club where we read books your neighborhood book club won't, and there's lots of bonus content that I've created just for you. When you're ready to take what you're learning on the podcast to a whole other level, then come on over and check out the Fierce Calm Project at kellyhanlonmccormick.com/Fierce Calm Project.